Hey there, thanks for joining us at the Rabbit Hole of Research, where you'll learn a few facts that you can impress your friends with at a party.
Hey, what's going on down here at the basement studio?
Hello.
Joe here.
And Nick.
And Nick here, just hanging out on this Wednesday Eve in the basement studio.
Ah, yes, another Wednesday night.
Going to talk about a little science and sci-fi, fantasy, pop culture.
Don't trust them. Don't trust the cyborg.
Don't trust the cyborgs. I'm going to trust this seed, stalk, and root dark lager from Collab Brooklyn Brewery and Cajun Fire. So this is a pretty tasty lager. What you got over there?
I got Fume by Mac. It's a Barrel and Flow Fast beer.
Barrel and Flow.
Yeah.
Nice.
Tastes pretty good. It's a smoked, what is it? A smoked, I can't even say that word. I'm not even going to try it. I'm not going to butcher it because then I'm going to have the beer nerds after me.
We'll put it in the show notes. Let's do that. Let's
Just
start.
like drinking a goosey.
Yeah, let's start this. Let's start the episode off right with the show notes.
We start them off right.
Yeah, so.
All right, so yeah, we're on Cyborgs today.
Cyborgs. As we start off every episode, I try to give a little intro to set the scene. Cyborg was a term coined in the 1960s by Manfred Clynes and Nathan Kline. Those are spelled differently. Clynes, Clynes, and the other one's Kline. So
Are they
Clynes and Kline.
Are they not related?
Well, they're spelled differently, so I don't think they're related.
Well, I mean, someone could have just had a typo.
No, they're significantly spelled different. So I don't think it's a typo. I don't think they're related. Let me know. The Clynes.
We'll
Kline
have that in the
family.
footnotes.
Cyborg is a combination of organic and biometric parts. And the word cyborg blends the terms cybernetic and organism.
Is that what it's supposed to be stand for?
That's what it stands for, right? Cybernetic organism. That's what a Terminator says, right? He's a cybernetic organism.
I mean,
See, it was used to describe a human being whose physiology functions are aided or enhanced by artificial means such as biochemical or electronic modifications to the body. That's what separates like a robot, a
so
cyborg.
the Terminator wouldn't be a cyborg. It was never living.
Yeah, I mean, but it's organic. So which way do you have to go? Do you have to start organic and then add biometric parts for a robot and then add organic, like Bicentennial Man? It was a story by Isaac Asimov, and then there was a movie with Robin Williams. And so he was just a robot, and then he got the fluid that he can experience death, and got blood essentially, or some organic fluid that would simulate him living. And then in the Terminator, it was a machine. And then to fool humans, they put the organic skin and blood and everything on top. So they had this meshing of organic, right? So you could.
I mean, I like.
Versus like Westworld, I think they were robots with like rubbery skin. They didn't have real skin or fluids. They didn't have flesh, tortilla, or otherwise.
Actually, did you know? In Westworld, they only use tortillas as their flesh.
That's it.
Corn tortillas was all they had.
Yo, Brenner, that's how he got that nice fleshy patine.
Their makeup artists were great.
So yeah, Terminator, I would throw them into the cyborg category versus the robot, because you do have that living tissue over the mechanical exoskeleton.
I mean, I guess I can see it. It's just not the first one that would come to mind. Like, obviously, the first one that comes to mind is Cyborg from
DC, right?
Yeah.
That's named Cyborg.
Yeah.
So
when I Googled Cyborg, he's the first one to pop up.
Yep, you're right. There was a couple that came to mind, and I don't know why, but I thought of Inspector Gadget.
Yeah.
But as I looked into Inspector Gadget, and I used to watch that all the time, and I bet you everyone listening that knows Inspector Gadget has the theme song running through their head right now. But reading, it was unclear if he was actually human, because he just had a mechanical neck, mechanical arms. He had Penny, who was his niece, but it wasn't.
So wait, I thought he was human. Wasn't he human that died, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna bring him back as a cyborg"?
I didn't read that.
Wasn't that in the movie?
I didn't see the movie. I just watched
with Matthew Broderick.
I just watched that live action.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't watch that. That sounded
that
dumb.
was late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah,
I think.
I don't know. Making it live action,
it was great.
It takes, but I think he was a machine. I don't even think he had human bits, or at least the stuff I've read. I don't know if he had organic and the technology combined. I think it was all technology with a human niece. I think his niece was human.
How does that even work then? If you have a human niece,
Yeah, she was adopted or something. I don't know. So as you're looking up Inspector Gadget movie, my other favorite from my childhood is RoboCop.
RoboCop is definitely one.
Definitely would have been. They take him in.
I always thought that
one.
RoboCop and Inspector Gadget were like one and the same.
No, I mean RoboCop had.
I mean, Inspector Gadget is the PG version of RoboCop.
No, I mean,
what do you mean? No?
He had the legs that could stretch out, robot legs. I mean, unless you're saying Inspector Gadget had flesh over his metal bits, then he was just a machine, right? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Hold on.
All right. So RoboCop, love RoboCop. For those who don't know, RoboCop, he was a police officer in old Detroit, and he was signed up for a program that if he got killed, he'd be part of this medical experiment. He was brutally murdered. They took him, and then they combined computer brain and prosthetic mechanized limbs, and then he went out and was a badass cop.
Just letting you know, Inspector Gadget is a cyborg. He is part man, part machine.
Like I said,
he was living before.
So he was. So
yeah.
You think he was like RoboCop? I saw that he was more machine.
The PG version of RoboCop.
Because none of his bits, like he could stretch his neck, he had a helicopter come out of his head. He didn't have a brain, it looked like. Right, he had that little helicopter that would pop out of his skull.
Honestly, I don't know if it actually popped out of his skull.
It popped out of his skull.
I mean,
like his head opened up
he could actually get injured though. Like he
never got injured in the episode.
He always got.
He would blow up. No, he was
He'd
like,
be wow.
Yeah.
I'm in danger.
Yeah, then he would make his way out. The dog, what was the dog? Brain and Penny?
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, Inspector Gadget. Cyborg.
Well, okay. Well, I'll give it to you. I love Inspector Gadget, but I read and I went down that path thinking that, and then it was like,
I mean, this is in their Wikipedia.
Yes, yeah, but I mean,
show.
It's their Wikipedia.
I'm just saying.
I mean,
there's references and external links that we will put in the footnotes.
We'll put in the show notes.
Footnotes.
So then the Borg from Star Trek.
Yep.
They were definitely cybernetic. They would go assimilate all the other creatures and combine them to the hive mind. That was there.
Vision also is a cyborg from
the MCU. Vision, yes.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. Was he?
Yeah.
He did have organic. Yes, that's right.
That's the whole, like, that's why Ultron wanted that body. He was like, ooh,
Yep.
This is part living. I need this. And, that's where that whole living. And who else? Then
you had, we go to the Star Wars universe. Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. They all had kind of...
He was more machine than man at the end, too.
He had the breathing apparatus that he's well known for. That was his cybernetic components.
That was pretty much like a walking iron lung at the time, right? Like, is that what it was? Because of all the...
Yeah, I think so, yeah. I think it was doing the breathing, like a ventilator.
Yeah.
Yep, that's exactly what it was. But it was like in his chest and a little mouthpiece.
I mean...
So, Iron Man.
I was just about to say, he was...
When he had the when they took it out, he was no longer a cyborg then because they removed it. In the movie, in the comic, did they remove it?
I don't believe they have. I mean, they might have at one point. There's so many storylines.
So, but the movie line, by the time we got the end game, they surgically, Iron Man 3, I think they took it out.
Yep.
And then they took all the little metal shrapnel out, and then he had the external. But there is a case to be made that there are some external kind of bio prosthetics that exist, right?
Actually exist in the real life.
In real life, like, you're exactly right.
Rhodey in War Machine. There we are.
Right.
He had he had to have legs to walk.
That's right. After he got in
the crash.
The crash.
From
that's right. Yeah,
what
Vision hit him in the
that was Civil War.
Yeah. Yep.
Which stuff like that actually exists, and it's super cool.
They are starting to get that.
Like I've been watching all kinds of things on Instagram and YouTube of just like amputee people or people that have lost the ability to walk and stuff have all been getting these things to help them navigate life. And it's so cool.
Right.
Because it isn't just, oh, here's a regular old peg leg like you would have in the pirate age. It's like them. I don't know.
A peg leg.
What did they have? What else did they have?
They did. But I mean, they have other prosthetics, kind of the fin, the racing fin. That's come a long way from peg and the hook. I mean, what are we talking about? But no, I agree. I mean, you lose your limb in whatever fashion, birth defect or accidental, degenerative, but sometimes the nerve endings are still there. And so what they're doing now with these prosthetics to kind of get to that true cyborg is they're integrating, because these are your nerves just use electrical signals and they don't really care where the electrical signal comes from. We talked about eye, and I got a few eye kind of cybernetic things to chat about. But one of the things is that it's just signals. And if you close your eye and you press on it, you can actually see flashing lights.
Joe is currently doing that motion.
I want everyone to participate. This was a do along. But yeah, if you close your eye and you press on it, you will see kind of lights. You're just stimulating the response with the physical touch that you would get from photons interacting with your rods and cones on the back of your retina, which we talked about last episode. Was that last episode or was that the episode before? Or was it? Oh, it might have been 2 episodes. I don't know.
I feel like last episode was the permafrost, right?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We did. Yes. No, 2 episodes ago.
The schedule's right in front of you, Joe. Come on.
It's actually, I got a dry erase board to write stuff down so that I can keep track of everything. I mean, it's not hanging up and it has plastic on it.
It's currently in the least used position. On the floor, plastic over it still.
I got it for this very purpose, so I don't forget guest name. I don't I know what episode we're on.
What, that was like 3 episodes ago.
Relevant holidays, Valentine's Day has passed. Like I'm just I'm just talking science and that's it. And so I get in that zone. But yeah, we had the eye episode a couple episodes ago. But that was the interesting one, is the bionic eye. And there's disorders where light come in, it forms in the back. But there's disorders where the photoreceptors break down and ultimately die. And peripheral vision goes first. You develop tunnel vision and then blindness. And it's a degenerative kind of disorder.
Like glaucoma? Is that like?
Yes. Glaucoma this one is retinitis pigmentosa. The disorder I'm talking about. There's probably many disorders of the eye. I am not an ophthalmologist, and I don't even pretend to be one.
Eye doctor too.
I am not an eye doctor, no. But it was really cool. It's this thing called the science eye, and it has 2 elements. So one is they actually will inject the opsin proteins, these kind of photoreceptor proteins, into the ganglion cells, which are part of your neural network. Because those are still active. It's just there's no signal because the pigment cells have failed. There's no signal to be received by these ganglion cells that are there waiting in your optic nerve. They're waiting for a signal and there's no signal. So what the idea is that you can go ahead, put these proteins in, and then implant a little flexible LED array that goes right over the retina. And then you have a pair of glasses, and through this, they will interactively communicate, and your brain will perceive the signal that's generated. And so it's a really cool idea. And
so with that process, would it hypothetically be able to increase the amount of colors that you're able to see?
I think the idea now is restorative, not superpower.
Well, I mean,
right?
What
you know what I mean?
I want to say that a couple episodes ago we were talking about that. I think you said like 60%, I could be wrong, of women could see colors that men couldn't.
Oh, right. Yeah. You can perceive 3 colors, but they have 4 cones. And so instead of the typical 3, and so they actually get a boost in their color perception.
So if a male was able to get this procedure done, would they be able to see that extra colors? Is that something that would be possible?
So yeah, I think you
It's
could
not a
potentially,
superpower, but like,
right. You're asking, can you actually stimulate new color or information? So could you see ultraviolet? Because can you make the LED now perceive a different kind of wavelength? Sure.
like
I don't see why not.
It seems like it would be in the realm of possibility. Like,
yes,
it's not hand wavium.
No. I
like,
think I think, I mean, that becomes like an ethical question, right? Because as you increase the abilities of the cybernetic devices, one could ask the question. So as prosthetic limbs become more sophisticated to feel touch, to have pressure sensors, they can mimic the hand or arm very well. But can you then turn the pain receptor down? Can you increase grip strength? So now you can lift more because you can add strength to it. So the question might be that for certain professions, maybe it's advantageous to electively remove a healthy limb for a prosthetic limb, right?
I mean,
and so you're that's what you're asking. Like, can you go through a procedure to increase something for doing its sake?
Yeah.
And right. So yeah, it's an interesting
like hell, I would. Well, like, wouldn't you if you had the chance
I don't
to
know.
be like,
maybe I like my arm and hand.
I mean,
but that's where
it's
we're
gonna
headed.
feel the exact
that's
same.
Where you're headed, right? You could think about it that way, and then you could just go in and do all sorts of stuff. At your shop, like, you're dealing with hot things. So if you had this prosthetic, you wouldn't get burnt, or you'll need a hand mitt. Maybe you can just reach in the oven and pull out your pan. And
definitely done that a few times by accident, where you forget that. Oh yeah, this is gonna be hot. I'm just gonna grab this because I'm in the middle of 100 other things. Oh man, that's hot. All right, well, I'm already in the middle of it. I'm gonna go ahead and take it out and put it down.
Yeah, it was when I was younger. I was like a teenager. I cooked a chicken cordon bleu for my parents, one of their anniversaries, and I had it going, and I'm cooking some broccoli, some garlic bread, like a little nice bread.
Yeah.
And my brothers too. I have 2 younger brothers, so I was making this meal for everyone. And my mom, they had the rule that you cook it, you eat it. So if you mess it up, you're gonna eat the biggest share of it, right? Because food is we couldn't waste food. And so I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking, and I'm just super excited because it's coming out. You could tell when something's looking right, and you can smell it. It just feels like you've done a good job. And I go to the oven, and I just want to check temperatures. And so I open the oven, I reach in, grab the pan, put it up, I check temperatures, put the pan back in. And I'm standing there. It takes me a little second for all of the signals, that hit me, is that I did not wear a hot hand, and my hands just blister up, and it was just crazy. Yeah. So, and the chicken cordon bleu was excellent. It was well worth 2nd-degree burns on my hands. So,
I'm gonna go with a quick little side thing about a time at the shop where I accidentally spilled bacon grease all down my arm. And nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
Look, I mean, I'm showing you my arms.
I know.
There's no sign of blisters or anything.
Nothing. This just happened today?
No, this was like a couple months back. Michelle was there with me, and she goes,
"What was it? Hot bacon grease?"
Yes.
Or was like
it just
cold?
Came out of the oven, like me pulling it out, and like
it's really
it just going down my arm.
Nick just failed the cyborg test.
I'm just saying.
You should have brought this up for the mutant episode. You should have came up with the mutant episode. You missed your chance. Let's do some tests now. Here we go.
Oh no, I don't know if I'm gonna pass those. Can I think I can still harm humans, right? Like that.
Yeah. No harming humans. No humans were harmed during the production of this podcast.
What were the laws of robotics?
Now you're gonna make. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
Okay. Yeah, a robot may not injure a human being or through inaction allow a human being to come to harm. Second law is a robot must obey the orders given it by human beings except where such orders would conflict with the first law. And the third law is a robot must protect its own existence as long as such protection does not conflict with the first or second law. So those are the 3 laws.
I mean, yeah, I think I failed.
And then the 0th law above all the others is that a robot may not harm humanity or by inaction allow humanity to come to harm. So those were the rules there. But a cyborg is technically, if it's a human it's a human, so it's not bound by the law. It's just bound by the laws of man.
I mean,
right? Is that where you're getting to with these 3 laws? Why'd you bring this up?
As we all remember, RoboCop, didn't he have some kind of protocols that were like laws?
But those are put in the prime directives.
Yeah, I mean, just saying,
right.
Those exact laws can be installed.
You could, right? That's right.
That's where I was going. I didn't want you to just read it just for.
I think
shits and giggles.
You'll be a bad cop if you can't harm another human.
No,
I mean they got to do things. I mean they got to sometimes mix it up, right?
I don't know. I mean, I think you could do just fine as that.
Well, I mean, where's the line draw of harm? Like if you grab somebody and throw them away from whatever scene, does that harm? Or if you restrain them, is that harming?
Shoot someone in the dick?
I'm saying,
like
now, this is like explicit.
I'm have to do anything.
No, I'm just saying that I said if he had the 3 laws that you can't harm humans or through inaction, right? You'd be a bad cop if you had 3 laws installed.
I think we're going down a different rabbit hole.
I know. I'm just saying that he couldn't have the 3 laws. His directives were all about protecting the executives at whatever corp.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. But I'm fixated with eyes.
I know you are.
And there's did you with my peg leg and hook? Oh, that's R, not I.
Yep.
The eye patch. Pirates have an eye patch.
And the movie I watched, Treasure Planet, had a cyborg who was a pirate.
Did he have a peg leg and a hook?
He didn't have a peg leg and a hook. He had actual cybernetics on it, like one of his arms and his left leg and his left eye. I think it was left. I could be wrong, but they were all cybernetics. Like his arm would change up to help him cook and all this other things, and I absolutely love that. They had so many different functions. It wasn't just like, oh, yeah, so it's a hand. It's a hand that turns into a gun, and it also has a whisk, and it's going to chop.
It's like Inspector Gadget.
It was all in one arm, but his eye was also like, it turns into a telescope. Doesn't shoot out, but it's
right. It doesn't have a laser eye. It's like the real life, the iBorg project.
Oh, what's this?
So this filmmaker, Rob Spence, which I should have looked up what movies he actually made. Do you know Rob Spence?
No.
Okay, I'll put that in the show notes, or Nick may look it up right now. But he wanted the ability to deliver point of view filmmaking experiences, and so he teamed up with this scientist, and they designed a prosthetic camera and electronic eye self-housing, and they would attach it right to the eye, and it had a big headset and backpack, battery pack, and could go around and I guess capture stuff with it. I didn't see any films that were collected with it, but maybe if I looked at what Rob Spence had made, I would have found something. Did you find something?
Oh, I just found a picture of him.
Does he have the iBorg?
Yeah. Look at that.
Oh yeah, there it is.
We'll go ahead and put that in.
And put that picture in there. Yeah. It's creepy looking. Terminator style. You know, when Terminator dug out his fleshy eyeball, he had that other one underneath it. That's what he looks like. But that goes to biohacking. Did you see any of that?
Well,
where people DIY cybernetics into
like Cyberpunk 2077.
Right.
Where they just have all these kinds of underground cybernetic doctors.
Yeah, that and the grinders term. I didn't know that. That was the first time I came across this term, grinders. And these are people part of the biopunk movement, like open source transhumanism and techno progressivism.
That's just so fancy. Wild, but I'm kind of for it. Like,
yeah, really interesting because you had blood test implants, hearing colors. So it was like
what is that one?
Hearing colors. So this artist, I think it's Neil, I'll put it in the show notes, but he was born colorblind. And so he worked with the team, and he was an artist, and he transposed colors to vibrations using this kind of head-mounted device. And so as you see the world, it would translate that into kind of some audible kind of experience. And at first it was like a headphone thing, but then he had it surgically inserted into his occipital bone in his ear, kind of like the headphones and things that you use. So he actually had it implanted. And so he can now, as he visualizes the world, he hears sound.
What does blue sound like?
I don't know. We'd have to ask Neil.
It's like,
It's like maybe it's none of those things. Maybe it's like
that part out where
yeah,
it's just me making noises in the mic.
We're leaving that in.
No, yeah, people are gonna love that.
Yep. Then biomagnets. That was another one where people they insert magnets under their fingertips or palms, and then they can use it to simulate tactile nerve endings. Then they can interact with other magnets and things like that in the environment and lift things. You can lift if you got the usually they're micro magnets, but if you get big enough ones, you can lift up metallic things.
Would that not damage the skin? Like,
no, they stick it underneath. It's kind of
but like if it's heavy enough, it's gonna
like pull or whatever.
Yeah, like
I guess it would stretch. Skin is fairly pliable and stretchy. It's like a tortilla. Like there's those people that get the little hooks through their skin and they hang themselves and do tricks. Did you ever see that?
I try not to.
Okay, yeah. Like or they lace up their back. They have like little hooks and lace. You never seen any of that stuff? Okay, well, maybe I won't put that in the show notes.
My discomfort. Like I know that like I'm not yucking someone's yum, but like
right.
That just makes my skin crawl.
Don't yuck anyone's.
Like I don't know. The feeling of that or the sound of that makes the feeling sound intense.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never seen like kind of freak show kind of things or. All right. Okay. Never mind. Back to Cyborg.
We'll do a whole nother episode for freak shows.
Right. Well, Georgia, she'll be on for that one. That's her. She does a lot of her print work are from the freak show entrances and things like that. If folks hadn't seen her other work, besides the lovely artwork for the podcast. But then you have the brain computer interfaces, wetware kind of thing, Neuralink, Elon Musk.
Which just got approved for human testing recently, right?
I believe so. Yeah. I think they've already been doing tests. Yeah, they're already doing tests. I think they had the first persons that were implanted with the Neuralink devices. So that's pretty cool. I mean, I think we're entering a point where more and more stuff coming out. Just today, as I was doing scan on was it Washington Post, they had a article about wearable breast cancer scanners. And these devices, they can be incorporated into a bra and then monitor, kind of scan across the ultrasound to scan the breast to detect cancer. And so
really cool. Like,
it is, right. Yeah.
That's something that you wouldn't expect to be like a thing right now.
Right.
But
right.
So close to just
right. And then it's really completely. The feedback, like you get it, and then you do get into some, even like the wearable medical devices, things like that you also read about, where it's giving real feedback about your biometric or your health or some diagnoses, that then you have to secure the data, because that data is going to go somewhere for somebody to view it. It gets another discussion, and even now they're trying to protect brainwaves, because the brainwaves can be used as biometrics. And just like you use your eyeball or your fingerprint. I really like the eyeball episode was just fun. I mean, I'm still thinking about it 2 episodes later.
It's okay, Joe. Next year we'll do another eyeball episode.
I know, right. Yeah,
that's going to be your passion project right there.
I know. Go work on eyeballs. I'll come back in. I'll have the
cybernetic
eyeball.
Have
the right. I'll have the Cyborg. You'll be like, here's the Cyborg. But no, yeah, it's really neat. There's a bunch of stuff, and like these DIY hackers, bioluminescence, and so they are implanting like
going back to the like having things implanted in you and having it sent off elsewhere.
Right.
The idea that stuff can be hacked is so wild.
Change
you
the
are
passwords.
Essentially being
right
that object that can be hacked, and all of your information is
your biofunctions. Let's say you have the prosthetic limb now, and it's being controlled somehow, because what they're doing also is like integrating AI, artificial intelligence, I think, episode 2 or well, I don't know, a while back.
Yeah, that was my first episode on.
They can use AI to filter out noise or to interpret signal. So as you're trying to communicate with your nervous system and stimulate that, they're using the AI to actually help figure out what's real signal, what's not, what should be interpreted. And it's really interesting kind of aspect of using that technology in there. But that means that you are dealing with code, you're dealing with computer, you're dealing with machine, and all that can be hacked. I mean, update your passwords, 2-factor authentication. Do it. If you haven't done it, go do it right now.
Oh,
After the episode.
I mean, you can do it while listening to it. Like,
that is true. You could do it.
I'm pretty sure you're not watching your screen intensely.
There's nothing to watch right now. We're not quite there. We'll be there soon.
That's for the future us.
I'll have the iBorg and us be looking at Nick. Be like,
oh my.
I don't really like, I'm going to be honest. It'd probably be the last thing I would implant. I don't even like putting eye drops in my eyes. I really don't. I don't like contacts.
I don't like people touching my eyes.
I definitely don't like people touching my eye. That's who like, I don't know.
The eye doctor does.
Eye doctor has never touched my eye.
What? Oh, wait, no. I'm talking about that little...
Right, the little puff of air.
Yeah, they can't do that for me. They specifically have it in the notes not to do that to me.
You need to find a different eye doctor. Like, let me just stick it in the flesh.
Does your eye doctor not, like, rub your eyeball?
That's right, They are not.
They're like, hey, you know what? Let me get in there and feel around and... can you see this?
Can you see my fingerprints? And then one of my Fifth Element, one of my favorite movies.
I forgot about that movie.
None of the main characters are cyborgs except the cockroach that they send into the president to hear about where the stones are at. That the diva has them. Remember that scene?
Yeah.
And so that was a thing. Came up in my research. The cyborg insects or insect biobots. It explores using insects equipped with sensors and stuff for environmental monitoring, search and rescue operations, or agricultural purposes. You can have all these little like flying or crawling things monitoring the environment.
I think they already have those.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're out. I mean, they have this to control the insects. That's through these electrical signals, that's impulses, and then they can go around and do it. But Fifth Element, they actually use it there to spy. So some of the insects crawling through your house could be spying on you right now, just to add to your paranoia.
A fly on the wall is...
Truly, a fly on a wall is really listening in to this podcast.
I mean, that is terrifying to be like, oh yeah, at some point, someone can get all your information just by having a bug in your house.
A literal bug.
Literal bug.
Not even like a little electronic... And that leaves. Like it might be here today and then it's gone tomorrow.
I mean, this is why I always have classical music on blast.
That's right. The white noise.
My house.
White noise is just going.
I can't hear myself think.
Yeah.
Did this episode just go paranoia?
No, I think people should think about it. Like, just like the AI episode, here's the good, here's the bad. It's like zombies. I mean,
use protection.
You got to do, except here, this is not even hand wavy. We are entering this era where decisions will be made, and I think you'll hear more about it. These ethical things, like not cyborg, but just today, this was the second human ever got a genetically modified organ transplant from a pig.
Oh, damn.
So another kidney. So I think it was a man some months ago got a transplant, a pig kidney, and he's out the hospital doing well. And now a woman who, I think she got the kidney, she got like a heart valve, she got a bunch of kind of organ bits from the pig, and she's now looking sound and spry. She was on the radio today. So I was thinking about this episode, and it was like, so not cyborg, but once again, there are ethical questions that one can ask, and maybe that's a different episode where we talk about genetically modified.
Oh, I thought you were going to say we're going to just talk about ethics for an hour straight.
No, one. I don't have enough beer for ethics talk. We covered a little bit of ethics earlier. People can think they're thinking now. I can see it changing their passwords, 2-factor. Like, what is 2-factor authentication? Go ahead, look into that. I mean, why are you looking at me like that? Do you know? You know a 2?
Yeah, of
course.
Okay.
Why are you giving me that look?
I thought you were waiting, like throwing it to me to tell him what to buy. I'm like, wait, are you just gonna tell me to?
If you want to tell me, it's like, in knowing's half the battle. I don't know what
G.I. Joe.
What are we doing here on the Rabbit Hole of Research, the podcast? Okay, so
what else
Cyborg.
you got for us, Joe?
I think
Are
that
you
is
spent?
it. I mean, you want to go down ethics or the nitty gritty of the bionic eye but I think that we're giving people a little bit to chew on here and got another maybe swallow or so. How about yourself?
Honestly, I think I'm for cybernetics. Like, it is one of those things that is
You're pro
in-
cybernetics.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
It's in the realm of possibility, and
Yeah. Well, it's here today. I mean,
yeah,
we are
we
now.
are.
Yeah.
We are the now.
We are now.
By the time this episode drops, they're going to be like, "Oh yeah, you can get an Apple arm for $20,000 in your child's life."
Yeah. What
It's
was
gonna
that
be like,
movie? Was it Repo Man?
Yeah.
Not the old one, but wasn't a new one with Forrest Whitaker, and they would go back and you would buy like
Yeah.
a new heart, or it was like the animated movie Robots, like why be you when you can be new, and you would just go get synthetic parts and then you would put that on credit, and then Forrest Whitaker, I forget who the other actor was, and their job was to repossess the organs, the cybernetic organs that were given out.
See, so it sounds like for that one, like you just have to wait a couple of years. You can get a used heart and like for a quarter of the price.
Wait, yeah. Your friend. Are you using that?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Hey, you got any refurbished hearts around here? You know what? I'm really thinking I need to throw my
You know
arms.
what the business model here is. I don't know. But yeah, so I think that's it. Let's go ahead and
one last question for you.
we got one more thing.
What would you get replaced with cybernetics?
Sheesh, I want everyone to answer this. I think this is we'll put that as the show question. We ask the questions. Some folks answer them. Oh, I'm gonna answer the question. I'm stalling a little bit because I'm thinking. But we had a user, a listener. They said black holes. They wanted us to talk about black holes. And I told them in the comments, I forget it was on Substack, and I said, oh, we actually talked a little bit that in the teleportation and
do a deeper dive.
Kind of there. But I was like, yeah, we should do. I think that would be kind of cool. What would I get replaced? Man, definitely not my eyes. Well, maybe I now have to wear these readers and carry them all around with me. But I don't, like I said, I don't like people touching my eyes really. I don't know. I think you're right. Like arms or legs. Like I think there would be some. They're utilitarian. As you get older, your muscles start to, you try to stay strong. You start to lose a little strength, a little bit of grip strength, fine motor skills. So if you can actually reconnect and compensate for that, I think that would be, I don't know if I would sign up, but I would,
I think mine would be hearing. I think
hearing,
that,
yeah, right.
One of those key things to be like, all right,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
like also hoping that it'll record things, so I could be like, all right, I'm gonna go back to listen to that one because I totally forgot what happened.
Things. Yeah, that's see that, people, stay away. Nick is recording you. That's it.
Yeah,
He has recording devices.
It's mainly
Can you-
because my memory is trash.
I need you to talk into my left ear. And you repeat that.
Hold on. Talking to my pocket. That's where the recorder is.
Let me lean this way.
But yeah, like that would be one of those
Yeah.
things where it's like, cool. Now I can actually listen to the volume with 1% on it and be like, all right,
Right, and hear
No
what
one
they're
else is
saying. Yeah.
paying
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one of those things where I'm like,
Or
yeah,
dial in certain frequencies. You can
Yeah.
go and like, I'm going to tune in.
military.
Go there.
Man, that one, we're gonna have to bleep that one out.
Yeah, a few bleeps in this episode. Apologize for Nick. That smoked beer is really getting there. Fume or fume? What, it has an accent somewhere on it, right?
Listen, it has an accent on the E.
Yeah, is that fume or fume?
You tell me.
No,
I'm
I'm
not gonna
not telling
be the
nobody.
one getting in trouble for that.
I think
I will be the one saying
Let's-
goosey.
Let's ask the machine. The machine knows all.
But
Okay.
all right,
Well, I think that's a wrap for this episode. I am Joe.
you got Nick.
Give us some star love.
Let us know what you want to hear.
Apple.
Like, what
Yeah.
topics do you want to
right
hear?
here.
We'll ramp.
Beers we should be trying. Like we can go buy them and crack them open. Yes.
As long as
That's right. That's right. Or send them.
I actually do have a PO box. Oh, I didn't know.
Wow, I think
That's another hole we went down.
all right, that's a wrap, people.
Bye-bye.
Stay good.